Tick, 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 tock. We're going. We're
It's
live.
not TikToking. We're YouTubing.
That's right. Just looking at TikTok. That's why we should TikTok this in a live, and then people could join us. Yeah, I don't think you don't have to have 1,000 followers before you can do a live. I believe.
I don't think there's any great a chance that that's happening anytime soon.
I don't know. I have 2 nothings up there. I have Tessa jumping in the snow, and I have a video of Worf saying "Good tea, nice house." That's it. And I've got, I don't know, 20 followers or something, 40 followers, or it's ridiculous.
The ones I have, there's a bunch of them I've never heard of, and I have no idea who they are. I think they're just spam accounts.
Actually, no, a lot of them are they follow you, so you'll follow them. They want to increase their following.
Right.
So and follow. They just hit as many follows as they can.
Yeah, I rarely do that.
You rarely follow many accounts as you can.
No, I rarely follow the ones that I don't like if I don't know them.
Yeah, I don't follow anybody unless
I want. Again, we're not talking about the movie yet.
What? Did we watch a movie?
And we spent some time together last week.
Yeah.
So you would think we got some of that other stuff out, but we watched Ordinary People.
Yes.
Hot on the heels of Terms of Endearment. So you can see the similarities of why I picked Ordinary People.
Yeah, for sure.
The Death of a Child is in there, and both of them had won Best Picture for their years for Oscar.
Yeah. But I thought Ordinary People was much better than Terms of Endearment.
Coughing again. Yes. I agree.
So?
I agree.
I thought it should have been 1 number above in the IMDb. IMDb rated Terms of Endearment 7.4 and 7.7 on Ordinary People. I thought Terms of Endearment should have been like a 7 and maybe Ordinary People an 8, something like that.
Yeah, I get that Terms of Endearment had a little bit of comedy in it, and there was very little comedy in this one. There was, but other than that, it was done very well, I thought. Both of them were based on a book. But no, I was impressed. I can see why it wasn't a feel-good, wonderful movie, but it was done well.
Yeah, I thought so too. I believe the Timothy Hutton character, who he played, Conrad, completely. I was halfway through and I was like, oh, I feel sorry for him. And I'm going, how's he going to get out of this? How's he going to, there are a couple times maybe he faltered, but just generally, I totally believe that. Mary Tyler Moore, not till the end did I believe in her character. And maybe that was on purpose because she felt cold and removed.
Did you know that Robert Redford told the entire cast to ignore Timothy Hutton, to leave him alone, not interact with him, to make him feel as isolated as possible?
Oh, really?
So he couldn't even have okay, I'm friends with these people afterwards, after we do all the movie stuff. He had a hard time because they were really just ignoring him the whole time. One thing I sort of didn't like about that is he won a Best Supporting Actor. It's the dude was best act, he was the actor in the movie. He was the lead actor. He was not supporting anything. He was just new. And so they gave him that title. They seem to give supporting actor to great actors when they don't think that they'll win if they're going for best actor. But if they go for best supporting, like Robin Williams won for best supporting.
In which one?
The one with Ben Affleck, Good Will Hunting, I think.
Okay.
So they'll give him a best supporting, but they wouldn't give, Robin Williams, a goofy guy, a best actor. But he
wasn't the main actor. You had to go with.
Right. But this guy was the main actor. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. And he should have been up for best actor. But again, he wouldn't have won it maybe, but best supporting he did. So, yeah.
That's politics and everything, right?
Yeah. And Robert Redford, this was his directorial first time preview? Debut. That word just left my brain. So I thought he did a very good job.
Yeah, certainly better directed than Terms of Endearment. It seemed flighty and not well put together compared to this movie. Like, you started to learn more and more of what he's going through, and you obviously wondered if he was going to commit suicide, if the Timothy Hutton character was going to do that. Like, that was certainly a big wonder for me.
Yeah, that we were left in suspense about that. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then Elizabeth McGovern character. So the 2 times he met the girls, he was normal. Did you notice that?
But the 2 girls looked identical.
I know.
I couldn't tell them apart. Like, please make one blonde or give her bigger hair or shorter hair or longer. They took 2 girls who looked very similar. So when he did the phone call that Karen died, for a minute I thought, that's the girl in the choir. That's the same girl, but it's Janine was the girl in the choir. So I thought the girl in the choir had died, and then I was very confused because they looked to me the same.
Oh, to me, obviously, the girl who was in the hospital with him is going to be the one that died. That's why I didn't really get that confused. But you're right; they did look alike. When I saw the Janine the first time, I started going, "Oh, she's back, but she's acting a bit different. Like, why is she acting different towards him?"
Yeah, like he has to use her name. Hi, Karen, not Janine.
Yeah. But didn't you notice he's like singing when he comes home, when he came home from the choir, and when he was with her, he lit up in the restaurant, just so glad to see her. And I'm going, oh my goodness, he became absolutely normal, a normal kid with normal hopes and dreams at that moment. And then everything else was weight on his shoulders and the weight of the world like that he felt.
Well, way to go to Mary Tyler Moore for tackling that role, because she was just so not friendly, and that's just not who she played ever. She always played wonderful, and she's just a broken sort of woman that she portrayed that so well, because you couldn't really hate her because she was doing the best she could, but it was so bad. Like,
yeah, they didn't really answer that well enough. I like come to the conclusions of why. I mean, I guess she can't love her son, not because she loved the first son. I had an answer when I was watching the movie of why she went like that and why it made sense. Now I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, like that. It sort of wasn't really explained why she couldn't love the second son, especially after the first one dies. Then you put all that energy.
Yeah,
but she didn't. It almost like. But the idea that marriages, it's really tough on marriages when a child dies.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this showed that.
Yeah, no, I've heard that lots of times when a child is killed and then the marriage can't handle it. And
really hard.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work.
I think it would be the other way around, that they both have a common goal and a common grieving process to go through. You know what I mean? You really would think that would bring 2 people together, but I guess everybody's going to take that a little differently. And when each of you take it somewhat differently, you really think the other isn't doing it right. No matter how you tackle it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the first a glimpse that we know something is really wrong is he comes down and he doesn't want to eat the French toast. And so the mother takes it and throws it in the garbage, like dumps it. Says, if you won't eat it, it's gone. And it's like, okay, that was really rough. Like, no, I'll put it, the
birds in the back,
later.
The birds in the backyard would love it, and like make something nice of it. Yeah.
She just she says, if you don't want what I did for you, well, it's gone now. But she to everyone else, she looked like everything was put together. Like, people should have expected her to be having a hard time. Her child had passed away, but it's almost like it never happened.
Even with the Donald Sutherland one, when the guy's talking to him, when they're doing their walking, he goes, what's the matter? What's the matter? And I'm going, what do you mean, what's the matter? Like, he so much didn't go into, well, I know you've got a heavy thing on your head. Like, I know you, something's the matter. Like, is that a child dying is going to stay with you forever? There could be 20 years later and things come back to make things really tough for you, and you can go into it. I mean, that's the only I'm not a depressive kind of person, but if I had a kid and it died, I think that would pull me into that kind of well. I don't think I'd know how to come out of.
Yeah, I have a few circumstances in my life that take me just like, okay, down a little bit. Yeah. Just little things, and they're not big, but they will immediately take me to a place that is like, okay, I remember that. Yeah. We've had some accidents with a couple of our kids. We were robbed. So, and these are things like everyone was mostly fine afterwards. So there's nothing to complain about, but they are earth shattering, and they're really, in the grand scheme of things, hardly anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, he did a good job of just talking about stuff that people don't really want to talk about.
Yeah. Did you like the Judd Hirsch character?
Yeah.
I don't like the name Tyrone Berger.
Yeah. I didn't even catch that really. Why should
yeah, I don't even, but as Dr. Tyrone.
It's Dr. Berger, yeah.
Tyrone doesn't fit him. But Donald Sutherland, I thought, did a pretty good job. Didn't like Mary Tyler Moore for the first 3 quarters, and then it made all sense why she was like that and why she had to play that role. And so then I did like her how she played that role.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, they're pretty good at describing certain things, and then certain things are not. Like, they use flashbacks a little bit, like the flashback to the boating accident, and there was some flashback. Like, there was no flashback to the hospital, just him going away to the hospital. But they didn't talk enough about, like, when he talked a little bit about the hospital, I wanted to hear actually more now. What was his interaction with Karen at the hospital, and what were some of the things? So maybe the book actually covers more of that. Yeah, it's quite possible. It actually does make me want to read the book.
Right. Did you like when the boys pulled up in the Datsun, the beat up Datsun? It reminded you of the Toyota Corona.
Yeah.
So much falling apart, pulling up, rusting everywhere. Everybody jumps in, 4 people jam into a thing on the way to school.
Yeah. And it was interesting too, he was on the swim team, and that was a big part of his life, and yet he knew it wasn't working for him, and so he quits, and then he doesn't tell his parents about it. So yeah, that's all kind of part of life. Not everyone's the star of the swim team, and some people quit, and that's okay to quit because you're doing other things. But usually the movies are about the kid who becomes a swimming star, and he didn't. He quit.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, no, I like that. Well, that's why it's ordinary people. It's ordinary lives with ordinary faults, and they had a pretty big interruption in their happy family path. But generally, it's. I mean, I didn't get. I mean, I guess if I'm going through the grieving process of my son dying, I might not know how to handle my next son and do it right, or. So I guess you could fail, but like you said, you think you'd both be super cautious and careful.
Yeah, you would transfer the love that you had for that child. You have nowhere to give anymore, so you have another one. You transfer it.
But maybe you felt guilty that you didn't in the first place.
I don't think she felt guilty. She could have made changes then. I just think she couldn't. She was emotionally unable to. But it looked good for everyone. Everyone, all of her friends, everyone thought it was fine. She was great at parties. She was volunteering and doing all those things.
I heard it's a great thing on TikTok. My Gary Vaynerchuk. This woman you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? Have I described him to you before?
Not that I can remember.
So he's social media guru, but he's made millions upon millions of dollars on he started his dad had a wine store, like sold liquor in I forget which state, let's say Rhode Island or New Jersey or something, and he turned that into a web store and made it huge and started making lots of money, and then became known as the guy who knew how to turn the internet into making money. So he does he goes to garage sales, and even though he's worth $300 million, he goes up to a garage sale and talks somebody down from $3 to $1.50 for a whole bunch of old candlesticks or something. You know what I mean? That he really, really likes and thinks might be worth $30. He still likes doing the general stuff. So people want his advice all the time. Because he does a lot of public speaking. I wanted to go to one of his talks at the O'Keefe Center in Toronto about 3 years ago, and it was canceled before COVID, though. So I didn't get to go to it. But he's called, you ever heard the term crushing it? Like, you're doing so well, you're crushing it. Well, he made that term up. It was
okay.
He had a book called Crushing It. He sort of started that. So this woman comes up to him, and she's got like an Eastern European accent, and she says something like, how do I keep my daughter away from predators on the internet? She's like 10 years old or something, and I'm just scared. And he said, whispering in her ear, but yelling at the same time, because all the people and the noise around him, he's got to do this. So the camera's on him, and he goes right up to her ear to say it. And you can hear the audio really well. So he says, well, there's two ways. One is keep her away from the internet. You know what I mean? But that's almost impossible because of friends and kids around, and they all want it, and she'll want it. And so now she goes, okay, well, now I got to worry about the predators of the world, and she won't have the tool set to, figure that out. And he goes, you have to give her self-esteem. If you can make her self-esteem strong enough, she won't be lured by the predators of the world. What a great way of, now, how do you do that? That's a whole different story, because you can't, self-esteem isn't just you did really good. That's it's not just a pat on the back. That's right. And I think that's what people think and that's what they were sort of trying to, that's why I brought this in. They're sort of trying to do to him. They're thinking, oh, do your swimming. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're quitting your swimming. Oh, that's a step back. Oh my goodness. That's going to bring you back. And he didn't want the swimming. He was sort of bullied by the other guys in the swimming. They have no idea about that. You know what I mean? Like, and so the parents were just focusing on the swimming. That's got to be good. And it really wasn't, for lots of different reasons, a good thing for him to do. I mean, especially because that's the time he was supposed to go see the shrink. You know what I mean? Like,
and then the brother died in the water, and the brother was a better swimmer than him, and a bunch of things like that, right?
Yeah. I never even thought of that. You're right. Yeah. That is another one.
But I did like the swimming coach. He was just this little part, but I thought he did he had, what he said contributed to the storyline. I really like that. About almost everything contributed to the storyline. Sitting in the car talking with his brother's friend. Yeah. Little even the friends at a party or something, they all contributed to the storyline, I thought.
It's funny how when you see a coach nowadays, soon as I see him, my brain goes to like pedophile, because so many times we find out that the gymnastics coaches were that way and the swimming coaches were that way. And this is from the time in the 80s when nobody even considered that a thing. So it must have been rampant, because if it's happening now with all the checks and balances that they do now, the 80s must have just been like rife with it. So that's my first thing when I see it. I go, what's his motive? What's he trying to do here? Why does he want to see these young boys in swimsuits? You know what I mean? Like, and yet he was just a good coach, trying really hard to do a good job. Yeah. And my brain goes to that as the first line of defense as to how to protect something.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, that there's, like, I can understand when, you want to be a rock star and you get accused of stuff, but it's like, you're trying to help kids. And it's like, that's terrible that's even something that comes up in our mind, but it is, because it's just so rampant.
When I went to be a big brother, we had to jump through lots of hoops, and they watched you very carefully, and you had to go get the police check, and then they watched you with them initially for the first couple times, and you know what I mean? It was a very intense, and you're almost scared you're going to say the wrong thing that's going to make somebody think ill of you or something. So it was pretty touchy. I didn't like that overseeing, but I knew they had to do it.
Churches are now the same way. We have our doors all have windows in them, because something could be going on behind the door.
Yeah,
that just all kinds of stuff that we're covering our backs because we have insurance for everything now, and it's just it's just strange. Like, Martin used to drive Derek Parkin to junior cadets. Martin would pick him up and take him to the junior cadets, and he'd bring him home. And like, that's great for Barb and Keith. They didn't have to go out that night. And Martin was just on the way. And now it would be like you'd have to jump through some kind of hoop to have that happen. Like, you can't be kind to people anymore.
Yeah, especially kids. Yeah, somebody ran up to you. If a little girl would run up to me saying something, you go like, going on like, just turn your back. It would be scary.
Yeah, yeah. So a couple of other things about the movie. I like how he talked about the Waltons, what John Boyle said. Like, I thought that was pretty great. I love the line, and this is the closest what I thought to was funny. When he talked about there was a pigeon that was once sitting on the car in the garage, and that was the closest thing we had to having a pet. I thought that was great.
It's funny there. She said something after that when she went, yes, I heard the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh when it flew away. And that just seemed so... That's not the thing you're going to think about, is the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yeah. There was a dichotomy there. He either said when you started the car, it flew away. And then she said, when I opened the garage door, it flew away. I forget which one it was. There was something that made that not fit what he said and what she said about that pigeon.
Yeah, it was probably explained better in the book. But yeah, I thought it was... an insight. She explained it away, and she explained everything away, no matter what it was. What else?
They walked through the house with their shoes on, and they at the very beginning when they came back from that play, and she walks in. She's got her heels on, and she just walks into the house, walks on the rug carpet, out goes into the bedroom with her shoes on, and goes, "That's so American."
Yep. I liked how she fired the maid because the maid couldn't dust right. It's like, yep, that tells you what kind of person it is, right? Someone can't even dust your house properly.
Well, they can dust the house. It's time for a firing. What's your?
I don't know. I think she dusted the house fine. It just wasn't good enough for her somehow.
Yeah, but then she's cleaning the house. She doesn't look like she wants to clean that house. I didn't. I took that as she's stern, but like maybe fair. Like, I don't. They must have another housekeeper.
Well, when he picked out the clothes to wear to his son's funeral, she says, "No, you have to wear the white shirt and the blue short pants or whatever." And he, it wasn't until later that he says, "That really bothered me. Don't you think I knew how to pick out what I wanted to wear to my son's own funeral?" And she just couldn't figure out how she shouldn't have had the right to tell him what to wear. Just seemed like a strange thing.
It seems strange to be arguing about that. If you're going to your son's funeral, maybe your head's in such a fog you don't know what to wear and what matches and what you should wear to a funeral. I wouldn't know what to wear to a funeral.
Yeah, I'd like the help too, but I think it's the way that he was fine with it, and she said, "No, it's not good enough." Like there's a difference because Martin quite often says, "Are you wearing that?" It's like, right. Yes, I am. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I certainly like this movie so much more. And it was...
Yeah, I think the line that I like the best when it says, "You can't handle mess." I think it was the husband telling the wife, "You can't handle mess." And I think how we handle mess is how we succeed at life. I mean, that's how easy it is for us to navigate, relationships and disappointments and changes and all the different things that happen. How well can you navigate mess?
Yeah.
Because we're all going to have it eventually.
Yeah. Even billionaires have messes. More money, more problems. I love that line. More money, more problems. Like that's so some people did studies and they came out with a household income of $77,000 US is exactly where you need to be happiest, most content. You go above that, it starts creating problems. You go below that, you wish you had more money. But if you can afford the basics and not be burdened by money, because when you're only making $77,000, you're not wanting a $2 million home. You know what I mean? And therefore you're not feeling wanting. You find the thing that fits you, and it's the Facebook world where you watch it and everybody's drinking something on a vacation and their backyard's perfect.
Beautiful.
Have you been watching TikTok at all to see different stuff?
Well, I haven't searched for things. I will just go on and
The For You page, yeah.
And I'll just keep flipping, and some stuff I go through really fast, and others like, okay, I'll sit and watch this for a minute.
But isn't it so much more real than Facebook? There's so much of the gritty stuff.
Yeah, I find that some of it is too what I call manipulative. See my poor baby, like poor doggy. So, but I just flip through them pretty fast.
Yeah, I get rid of those too. And the ones that are obviously staged and that's not so good. But one of the most famous people on TikTok, her named Shoe Lover 99, and she just she calls people tater tots. I think we were talking about this last time and I couldn't come up with the word. Oh, my little tater tots. She comes running up she turns the camera on and, oh, my little tater tots. I found out this. And I told you the story about her going to the husband said, I want to go to Walmart. And then she said no, and then called him up and said, can you come back, pick me up? I should go to Walmart with him. That became her big one, I think, because it was such a good sentiment to, like she said, my husband just want to be with him. I should be with him. And I realized how much greater that was, that he wanted me to come. Anyways, her son was murdered at a gas station, just shot. And I guess a couple of days later, she comes on to say, I have 7 million followers. Somebody has to know something. Somebody has heard something about a friend that may have done this, or, you know what I mean? And you see her, she doesn't have any makeup on. She's not trying to do anything. She's like lost in the thing that it didn't look like Mary Tyler Moore was in this. Like, you think, even though, I mean, he obviously happened a year ago or something like that in the movie. Like it wasn't yesterday, but it wasn't 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Because of the ages of the boys and stuff.
Yeah.
That you think she would still be heavy with it. She wasn't. She was a ballerina stature, you know what I mean? Posture as she walked and sat and everything.
Yeah, that was the thing too. They didn't do an incredibly good job of like, how long ago was the accident? How long ago was it? Like, how long after the accident was the suicide attempt? How long was he in the hospital? How long is this now after the hospital? So some of that kind of got jumbled in my mind. How long ago after talking with Karen did he call? Right. I think it was, reasonable, but like, you don't really know if it was like 3 or 4 months. Like, you kind of can't tell. I think the book would have been able to include some of those facts. I think I might go look up the book, see if I can find it from the library.
All Ordinary People?
I think so. Let me see. Based on a novel with the same name. The screenplay is by Alvin Sargent. It's Judith Guest is the author. So 1976 novels.
I'm just trying to see if it's on Ordinary People, Chapter 8 of the audiobook. Yeah, I think it's probably Ordinary People, Chapter 18 audio. Sometimes there's audiobooks on the internet like crazy.
Yeah, the library covers a lot of them. So I also check out the little libraries. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I just found. I'll just go show you a second.
Okay. Look at her run away. The stuff she found. I got my mirror from Bill next door. Bill Gowers made it. That he would ever come across this video, but I'd like to thank him because I enjoy the mirror with the biplanes on it in red.
So you got to talk about stuff. This is the one I'm currently reading. 3 Cups of Tea, about a guy who tried to climb like the Everest thing and got lost, and the village took care of him. So he started building schools for the village. A little book of, I don't know how to pronounce it, Heidi.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Conway.
Okay.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah. I got listened to a bunch of his audiobooks.
Yes. Carol Burnett.
Oh, that's good.
I think I listened to her the audiobook from the library while I was walking, so I'll have the book with me. Koskowski, the Morningside Papers. He's a Canadian guy. And then Penn Jillette. So those are the books that I found in little libraries over the last, couple months. So that alone is.
You should do TikToking about.
I should. I think I'm going to do that. Same with writing. I think each of my short stories have been published in an anthology. Do a little ad, read a little piece.
Yeah. I've seen a few people do that where they said, I just read this book. It was amazing. It was sort of about this. And they talked about the topic. And it actually makes you want to go read that book. You know what I mean? How much they're sort of passionate about it. And you can talk about your little finds. And
yeah. I'm trying to keep things like with the TikTok. If it's a yellow on the thing, it means it's about the walking. If it's blue, it's about puzzles. And I'll pick different colors for different sections, but I tried to do a puzzle and the blue thing, I couldn't make the blue thing show up, but I couldn't figure it out. So I don't know why that sometimes happens. Well, my voice has lasted most of the time here.
Look, I see Ordinary People here, an audiobook, but it starts at chapter 8 and it ends at chapter 20. And then there's a couple other things in this listing. So there must be, and each chapter looks like about 10, 12 minutes long, that kind of thing. So
audiobooks are nice. I do like them.
Yeah, especially when you need to kill a couple of hours with something. That's what I like, falling asleep to audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Audiobooks or war documentaries or Rain and Thunder on YouTube. And then I've got it set up that even when my TV's off, the audio will still come to the speaker. So I can turn the TV off and listen to the rain and the thunder. I do that probably 4 out of 7 nights. Fall asleep to thunder.
See, these ones are good to read just before bed because I feel like I know the characters and enough that I already kind of know the story already. Yeah, but like Malcolm Gladwell, one of his new books, it's like, no, I want to pay attention because I've been listening to his podcast, Revisionist History. And it's like, it's brilliant. He just has this different perspective. You look at something and you think, oh, okay, that's the way it is. It's like, no. There's this other little part of the story that makes you go, oh, okay, I've changed my mind.
That's how they got there.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, no, I like learning, getting rid of some preconceptions that are in your mind that make obvious sense to you. You find out you were so wrong. Did you hear the one about how they ended up with the healthcare system in the United States like they have right now compared to Canada? Like, why is it so different than every other country in the world? I think it was him that came up with it and said,
probably. Yeah.
He was talking about the word circumstances. No, I can't think of the word. When things happen that you didn't expect.
Unexpected.
No. In other words, you do something, you go for the good, and you find out it made it way worse.
It's
unintended consequences. Unintended
yes.
consequences. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I think it was him talking about the unintended consequences, and he said that's essentially how America ended up with their healthcare system. It wouldn't have been that way if it wasn't for what a president did after World War II, because prior to World War II, it was pretty much the same as everywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
The healthcare companies took over. And sort of why that happened was because of a law that was passed to try and keep inflation down.
Right. It's all at a certain time, and they all had their reasons, and some of them are good and some of them aren't. And yeah.
I don't understand is why people don't talk about oil prices and are upset at the how much people are making off that. Like the price per barrel right now is $110 a barrel. And yet it's twice as high gas prices at the tank than we've ever really seen. Yet in 2008, the price per barrel was like $180, $190. I'm talking in US dollars here. So it was almost twice the price when the price was half the price. That means it's 4 times higher than it should be from a realistic point of view.
Someone's making money, just like pharma with vaccines and medications and treatments and stuff. They can charge whatever they want, and people are going to pay whatever they want.
There's a guy on TikTok, and I saved the video, I think, and he was in Pakistan. He goes, what 100 rupees, I think it was rupees, buy you, something like that. 100 rupees is, I forget what it was, 50 cents or something like that in value. Yeah, that's what it was. So he goes out and he buys all this stuff for this 100 rupees. And in it, something was 10 rupees or 20 rupees or something like that. I think it was 10 rupees. And it was a little Oreo cookie satchel bag with maybe 4 Oreo cookies in it. And that here would be $1.55. And his price on it was about 2.5 cents. So that means somebody is able to make those cookies and sell it for 2.5 cents,
right,
for those 4 cookies. But here it's $1.50. Everybody gets their piece of that cookie money like crazy. The people who deliver it, the people who stock it, the people who have it in the warehouse. Like every company, such a big chunk of that now that it gets sold for $1.50. I bought a little bag of chips in when I was driving back here, one of those gas station-y kind of washroom points, and it was $1.99 for the little bag. $1.99.
Yeah, I know.
And it really has 2 cents worth of chips in it, 1 cent worth of chips, maybe half a cent, something like that.
Yeah.
And somehow that gets to be $1.99. It's amazing.
It would be interesting to follow the money and do the percentages about like a piece of fruit, a box of cereal, a bag of milk. You know, how much actually goes to the farmer with the bag of milk? How much goes to the cow? The cow gets diddly squat.
And the cow gets at least he gets a little bit of food. He gets 5 cents worth of food to make 25 cents worth of milk for the farmer, and then that gets sold for $6, something like that.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah,
$6 of milk. But yeah, I would think milk is actually one of the higher ones that goes to the producers compared. But
yeah,
when I saw the Oreo cookies that are here for $1.50, that are there for, I think it was 2.5 cents that he in American dollars is what he paid for those cookies. And somebody made money. Like the store owner bought that for 1.5 cents, and the guy who shipped it for 0.25 cents. And so, like, it was amazing. I'll maybe send you that video of the guy talking about all the stuff that he bought for such a little bit of money for 50 cents.
Okay, our next movie is going to be from the 1990s. You're going to make the choice.
I will make a choice. I haven't even looked at it yet, but I will. What's the kind of movie that I want?
Well, it's funny because it's been we've been having some best picture, some very high quality ones.
Yeah.
I don't mind some of the bad ones either, but yeah, you get tired of them pretty fast. Like you can only watch so many bad movies, and it's not even bad. Just
you know what I did last night? I was lying in bed. I only watched half of Ordinary People, so I started in my head trying to think how it would end. So then I thought, maybe the next year when we do this, we watch a movie neither of us have seen. That's how we pick movies. And then we stop 3/4 of the way through the movie.
And predict.
And then we do our thing.
Oh, okay. That would then, because I usually go and look up, a storyline or Wikipedia.
I've done that before, not this time, but
we can force ourselves not
we
to
don't watch it at all. We watch 3/4 of the movie. And then we talk about it. We actually talk about how we think it's going to end. We argue about it. You know what I mean? Like, here's why they wouldn't do that. So we actually have that. And then the next time we actually say the results of the end of the movie to the next month and then do the start of the next movie. So in other words, we do two different podcasts.
That might be too complicated for me.
You're right. Maybe we do two ones where we watch 3/4 of the movie, then we watch the rest, and we do another quick one for 20 minutes.
I think we could do that, but not one per year, one per month for a year. That would be too hard.
Right. So we just do it. And then we have another one where we spend 15 minutes talking about, okay, here's how it did end. I was more right than you, or you were more right than me, or neither of us were right. It was all wrong.
Well, like there was only one movie when I was growing up or whatever that I thought, okay, wrong ending. This is not, it's called You Light Up My Life. And it was Didi Khan, and she was the girl. And Roger Laszlo, who was some guy on, I think, As the World Turns. And it's a great movie. And she was in love with him, and he dumps her, and she doesn't get him in the end. She walks away. And it's like, it's supposed to be happily ever after. What do you mean there's no happily ever after? That made no sense to me. That was the first movie that I go, what do you mean there's no happily ever after? It has to be. But well, they didn't do that. 9.5
weeks. That wasn't happily ever after.
Yeah,
started with a relationship, and then she walks away from it.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
So some quick looks at the best pictures: Unforgiven, Driving Miss Daisy, Titanic, Forrest Gump, Braveheart, Dances with Wolves, Shakespeare in Love, and The English Patient. Which ones haven't you seen in there?
I have not seen The English Patient.
I did in the theaters. I don't remember any of it. I remember a biplane, like a World War I biplane. That's it.
Right. Okay.
Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah. Yep.
Dances with Wolves.
Yep.
Braveheart.
I probably saw it once, but I can't say that.
Forrest Gump.
Number of times.
Titanic.
Many times. Jack, come back.
I've never seen Titanic. Driving Miss Daisy.
I think I saw it once. I saw a play on Driving Miss Daisy at Theater Aquarius. That was lovely.
Let me look through here. Dances with Wolves, Braveheart, Forrest Gump, Titanic, Driving Miss Daisy, The Unforgiven. Clint Eastwood.
No.
Oh, I haven't either. Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh, I think I've seen that once before.
I've seen
mostly because I remember John Malkovich putting lipstick on. I
saw half of it. I had to stop watching it.
It's pretty freaky. Well, I was able to I was working on something at the time, and I could kind of look down for a while because it was too intense in certain spots. But I mean, it was brilliant.
Schindler's List, the other one.
The same one. That was hard to watch, but I have seen it once. But it wasn't an enjoyable watch, but definitely
good movie.
Brilliant. It's almost like it's something that you should see. It's like history, you know. Yeah. You don't want to hear about some of the stuff that happened, and you don't want to dwell on it, and you can't fix it from the past. Like you can't, change what happened 200 years ago or 500 or anything, but you can have an honest look at it. And I think I don't want to live in that look at it. And I don't want it to be the only thing that is part of the discussion, because you also want to say that we've hopefully done some things and grown a little bit since whenever. Yeah. And I don't know. There's some things that made me think. We were talking with the kids. I think it was Anna and Ken were over. We were talking about how, in general, I thought, okay, my kids are going to be better parents than I was, and I thought I was going to be a better parent because we're learning so much, and okay, we're gonna be better, and I thought everything was like, we're eating better, we have better opportunities for health, and we got so many things that we're so woke, we know all these things, so we're going to be better people. And then COVID hit, and I thought, you know what? Maybe we're not going to be better people.
Yeah.
I had never thought that before, but the anger and the vitriol about people's rights was just stunning to me. I was just surprised that we can't live peaceably and kindly.
Yeah, I was thinking about that lately. How how every election cycle it goes, this is the most important election in the last 100 years. But every election they say that, right? It's hyperbole, obviously. But Who's I talking about this with? about, it was Doug and I were talking about it, how maybe this problem we have will actually force it to break down and force us to start over. You know what I mean? Like force us to rethink. And I'm talking about us, meaning America, but Canada would follow. But make a new constitution where, okay, we've got to address the fact that 250 years ago, when the Constitution was made, your ability to talk to your representative of government was a 3-day ride on a horse.
Completely different.
Them, and they had a 3-day ride on a horse to get to, and that's now we don't. We have the internet. We can do we can do so much quicker. But then our ability to influence is so much greater on the internet, not just talking to your neighbors about what you want, what would work for you. People spend money and get groups to try and convince people. You know what I mean? Like it's such a different, how do you solve that when money has become such a big player in influence? Yeah.
Without saying it. But your dollar, every dollar you spend means something.
But why can't we? You think we'd all be tired of all this money being spent on an election, and that in the States, somebody who spent nothing on an election, like Elon Musk, spends nothing on advertising with Tesla, zero. He's upended the whole auto industry. It doesn't make sense to anybody.
Yeah.
Why can't somebody do that and go, okay, we're going to run. We're just going to talk to people. We have an internet. Everybody can come look at us and see what we are about. And we'll do such a good job of putting forward good candidates that love the country, that are not left or right. Somebody actually tried to do that. Brett Weinstein, one of the Weinstein brothers, did that. And that happened too soon from the last election to really do anything. He started maybe about 5 months before and said, because you can vote for anybody for president. You can do write-ins.
Yeah.
Somebody can actually write in, and if everybody wrote this person in, you know what I mean? You could, even if they're not in the ballot, you could make it work, and you could get a really good government. And his sort of thought process was, you're electing two people. The one will serve as president and the other as vice president. The next time they run in 4 years, if they run again and win, they will switch to the other person being president and the other person being vice president. So they say, we are going, and the person who gets to be president is just luck of the draw. We are going to short straw draw. You know what I mean? Like we don't, it's not the important thing, because they're going to rule together. The president makes that final decision, but they will both jointly make those decisions of what they're going to make. And if they're arguing and go, no, I think this, he still gets to make the decision. You know what I mean? Like it was actually really well laid out. And the two people that they picked were really good people. And yet they picked Biden against Trump and Hillary against Trump. How bad can you get?
It made no sense. It made no sense.
Yeah, I just don't get, and yet they talk about democracy, and yet they knocked Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders out by convincing them not to be run anymore. Don't cause any more problems, and get on our side and say you're voting for, and it's all money there too. It's just
no, it's almost always a bit of a mess, because you can't do it. I was talking to the lady who is our town councilor, and she said, when I was elected, I thought I will vote for what I want to. But then I was told, no, you have to vote what your people say. So if I ask the people, what do they want? And 50% want this and 50% want that. So how do I vote? So you have to vote what you think is best. And then that's where it goes. But then I'm not, what about those people? They're not represented. It's like, yeah, that's right. So you get half a bunch of the people don't get what they want.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Everybody yells, even the left says, oh, we're losing democracy in this country. Imagine 70% of the people vote in a white supremacist. He's actually a white supremacist. Like he says, yep, this is what I want. This is how I want to live life. And I don't like black people. I don't like Jews. And you know what I mean? They do that. But 70% of the people in America vote that person in. Are you going to live with that? You going to be happy with it? Because it's you asked for democracy. That's what you say you're trying to save. And if that happened, you would go, well, I don't like democracy anymore. Well, you don't like democracy when it doesn't give you your leader. You like democracy when it gives you, you don't like it when somebody else comes in, but when your side happens, you're in love with democracy. It's got nothing to do with democracy anymore.
You know what? I think we should actually figure out if this podcast is this long, how much is actually talking about ordinary people, and then where do we go way away? I think that would be interesting.
It's probably been about half ordinary people.
Something like that.
I mean, this is just for you and me anyways. This forces you and me to have a conversation once a month. That's what's really good about it.
Yeah.
Doug and I had such great talks up till 2 a.m, just talking. He's such a good arguer, and he's so much smarter than me. I love arguing with him because I can learn like freaking crazy. He really makes me check myself at the door, because most of the time I think I argue with people, it's sort of easy. You know what I mean? It's just not easy with Doug. Like I can't,
because they're wrong.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah. Well, they're wrong in their arguments. I don't even know if they're wrong in the overall picture. What I mean is I can argue somebody under the table in most cases because I've thought things out more than most people have. But I can't do that with Doug. That's what I'm saying. I can't outthink Doug, and therefore his arguments are more concise and precise, that I have to go, okay, you're right. You came up with a good thing I wasn't considering. And that's what I want to do. I want to consider my arguments. I want to figure out the right way of approaching things, because I don't know most of the time. But I think my gut's pretty good. But when I sit down and I lay it out, like the whole tribalism thing, I've been going a lot more down that road and really coming to the conclusion that that's what we need to fight.
Yep.
Because that's what's happened with the woke thing. That's become their tribe. You know what I mean? And then the anti-woke has become a tribe. And I want to be with the anti-wokes. And let's get together. I love you all. You're so great. You think like me.
Yep. Yep, for sure. I thought another podcast I would love to do with you is you and I talking about family stories, just going over some of the family stories, just short little blurbs about, do you remember what, whatever? And then you tell the one you remember, and I'll tell one I remember.
I did that 1 year. Remember the Christmas one where we were giving mom and dad sort of memories? Remember everybody, even the grandkids did it, and we wrote the song Grandma.
I got to find that. I can't, I don't know where that is. It's on a DVD somewhere, but that doesn't help me anymore because we don't have a DVD player.
Yeah, I'm sure I've got it somewhere else.
Of course you do.
Yeah. I found Andy Griffith. Pop that up.
Oh, and it's season 12 of Big Bang Theory that's not up.
Ah, okay.
The last season where they go for the Nobel Prize.
Oh, and I just heard that I saved that one from TikTok. And they were talking about that, and they go, well, the Nobel Prize is all politics. It's not what you think it is. It doesn't go to the smartest person. It goes to the people who've done the job of convincing the councils in the right way. And it's all like a sham, and we don't think it is. But he was because we think all of it's a sham, but the Nobel Prize isn't. Right. We find that's a sham.
Well, so is the Olympics.
The Olympics are the biggest sham, for sure. I mean, the fact that you don't want Russians in there because of what the country's doing, and they keep having these Russian-American arguments in the Olympics, means that none of it's real.
Right.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
And America started that when Russia was in Afghanistan the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And if Russia was having the Olympics and they didn't invite the Americans this time because of America arguing about the Ukraine thing. I love how the deflection thing now is all on Putin's. He's sick and he has cancer, and therefore he's going to hit the button. You know what I mean? He's willing to blow the whole world up because he's sick.
I haven't even heard that. I guess I haven't been listening lately.
Oh, you haven't heard that he's got cancer? Supposedly he's about to die?
No.
That's why he's done this. That's why he's done the Ukraine thing. I don't know
makes
that,
sense.
I know. I don't know that he does or doesn't have that. A lot of people
Right.
are saying different things. But how that makes you a madman or makes you subdued with the world, knowing you're going to pass soon, that you don't care about money when you're going to pass soon. You know what I mean? You got too much of it. You care about your people. You care about long-term goals. There's a bunch of things that you want, but you certainly don't. You don't need to blow up the world when that wouldn't be most people's thought process when they're going to die.
At least not ordinary people.
Yeah, but maybe he's so evil and so vile.
Yeah. Well, I think we should sign off until next month. My throat is getting sore and I can't talk much longer.
Oh, I forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we'll see you next month.
Okay, bye-bye.